Birthday to you.
I'll bring you some birthday. I'll get William to make you a cake. How about that?
Okay.
I'll take that.
It's still sad,
It is sad.
but I understand.
Yeah, I see one happy face about that birthday and one not so happy face about that birthday. We're just gonna miss you.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm gonna miss everyone. Listen, we have a good time.
We
really
do.
enjoy the work that we do. And there's a lot more to do, so. I believe we have a bright future.
Okay.
As of right now, we have a quorum at 8:26. We'll get it till 8:30.
So we do have a quorum already.
As of right now, yeah,
Right.
we've got about 4 more minutes, so
Okay.
might as well see if some others come on.
Hey, Barry, you're ready to start the video and it's give me that error.
Okay, try now.
There we go.
All right.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, Richie, Lori, you ready? Andy?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Hold on. We've had a bunch more come in. I'm trying to figure out.
Oh, that's good.
Let's see. Is that? There's Keith right there.
Hey, good morning. This is Keith.
It's Keith.
Good morning, Keith. How are you?
I've finished my cup of coffee, so I'm doing okay right now.
All right.
Hold it.
Thank you.
Okay. think we're okay. I mean, we have a quorum. I'm just trying to get everybody's who's here and who's not. Trying to figure out who.
Do you not recognize those other numbers in there? The 919-724-2275?
I recognize them, and it's attendees. They're not voted panelists or voting members. But there's one number that looks like a Van Scramble number, but it's not on my list.
Was Jerry Edmonds on your list?
He was going to come virtually though.
Okay.
That might be him. That's Van Scramble number, I think. 492-2061. But they need to rename themselves if that's who it is.
Okay.
Let me see.
It's like that's what's going on right now. They're trying.
Hey,
Hi,
is
that
this you?
that number's that number's Rachel Damaris.
It's not
I was-
yours. Okay. I have
Hey.
another number for her.
Yes, I was concerned about that, and I tried to express that to April that anytime we call in from our phone here, it doesn't show our direct line; it shows our main trunk line, and that's the number you have.
I thought it might be. I knew it was Van Scramble. Okay,
Yes,
all right.
that's me.
Thank you. Thank you. It's Dr.
you.
Bear. Okay.
Thank you for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure.
Okay, I recognize those other numbers. Wait a minute. What is this? Hold on.
Good morning, everybody. It's John Frame with Town of Lewisburg.
Yeah, I see Jonathan.
Morning.
Now, wait a minute. Let's see, who's that? Okay. I have this one. There's Jerry. Okay, we have more than enough for quorum, so I'd say, and I know, I say we go ahead.
Are you ready? And we can try to get us done by 9:30. Good morning, everybody. I miss all the hugs and the handshakes, so hopefully we'll be back to that soon. So we'll go ahead and call our meeting to order. And a couple of housekeeping things. Instead of us having to go through and do a roll call, Lori, do we have a quorum?
Yes, we do.
All right. And also, when we do voting, when we vote on action items, instead of having everyone vote, Lori is only going to call on the ones that are voting members. All right. So if she doesn't call on you, doesn't mean we don't love you. It's just that she's calling on the voting members only, just to keep things moving along. All right. Let's see. First action item, we need a motion and a second for our minutes, please.
And Matthew, could I add a housekeeping note to
Yep,
what
go
you
ahead.
just did? Also, if you are on the phone and you want to be recognized to speak, if you will hit *9, then Barry will let you in and let you speak. If you are joining us visually, you just simply click on the participants, and an option over to the right-hand side will open up that says raise your hand, and just click that, and Barry will see that you're raising your hand. So that way, if any of you want to say something, you have the ability to do so. And Barry, I hope I got that right.
Yes, that's right.
And I want to thank you too for doing this for us.
No problem.
Okay,
All right.
Matthew, sorry.
All right. So let's get a motion and a second, please.
Unmute yourself. I'm gonna make a motion. Everybody muted.
Hey, this is Keith. I think everybody is muted again. I had unmuted myself, but it had done it. So I'll make the motion, Matthew.
All right.
Everybody needs to hit star six again, I think.
Second.
Thank you, Jonathan. All right. Got a motion and a second. Do we need ayes, Lori, or are we good? We're moving on. We're moving on.
Do what?
We're moving on. We got a motion and a second. We're moving on.
More than enough for a quorum, believe me.
All right. Sounds good. All right. So here's what we'll do is I'm gonna turn over the document. I don't know if you guys have seen any of the releases or anything, but she's got some new loan money for COVID, called the CARES Act. So I'm gonna turn it over to her and let her take over.
Well, thank you, Matthew, and thanks for all of you joining today, and to Richie for reaching out to me to bring you up to date about our CARES Act revolving loan fund. First of all, most of you all know that we have had a revolving loan fund since the late 80s here at the Council of Governments that was funded by EDA. And over time, we've loaned about $5.2 million in this region. Specifically in Franklin County, we've made 25 loans over those years, loaning about 1.7 million and creating or retaining about 408 jobs just in Franklin County. In fact, our last loan that we just closed on about 3 weeks ago was for a small business in downtown Lewisburg. So our loan program, our existing loan program, has been active in our region again since 1987. We had the opportunity in late May, early June to apply for a new revolving loan fund through the CARES Act funding with the Economic Development Administration. Those funds, which we were approved for $1.1 million for the 5 counties, are very different than our existing loan fund. Our existing loan fund normally funds startup businesses, but one of the requirements with our new loan program is that you had to be an existing business for at least 12 months so that you could show that you've been impacted by COVID, which is another requirement for the loan program. The program is set up for existing small to medium-sized businesses, so 1 employee to 99 employees. EDA allowed us to do a 0% interest loan for the first, the revolving loan part of this program. So for the loans that come in and are made within 24 months of receiving these funds, they are loaned at 0%. We are looking at loans from $10,000 up to a maximum of $100,000, and they can be used for working capital or for equipment. Our board made the choice not to use these funds for construction. As those of you all that have received federal funding before, when you start using those funds for construction, a lot of the federal requirements come into play. And for $100,000, it's just not worth it to have to deal with those federal requirements. So we did make the decision, our board made the decision to be able to use these funds for working capital and equipment. Our normal loan fund, you have to show that you could not receive credit anywhere else. So you have to have a turn down letter from a bank or a financial institution. This program, you do not. So any small business that meets the requirements and can show the loss of revenue or loss of business due to the pandemic is eligible for this program. We, again, will be running this program through our normal process. However, it will be expedited. And the reason that we can do that is because these are businesses that are existing businesses, unlike our existing program. So we will will be using our existing revolving loan fund committee to review these loans. You've got two folks in Franklin County that are on that committee. The chairman of the committee is Ronnie Goswick. And we're required to have bankers from each county also. And we have a banker from Union Bank in Youngsville. So our first meeting will be on Monday. We rolled this out about a week and a half ago. I have two applications sitting on my desk now, one from a small business in Vance County and one from a small business in Franklin County. And had emails when I came in this morning from two other small businesses that wanted to ensure that we'd received their online application. So hopefully we'll be able to process those and review them on Monday of next week. And my hope is that we can get the funds out of the door within 10 business days. So I will be glad to answer any questions that you might have. I would just appreciate it if you would get the word out. We really I want to make these loans and get this funding out the door. So again, it's one thing off our plate here too. So, and there are a lot of businesses we know that have taken a real hit because of COVID. And so I'll be glad to answer any questions if you have them.
Diane, this is Bo. Just a curiosity question. Once those funds come back into your program, are they going to have the same guidelines as the original, or would they be shifted to something else?
They will, after 24 months, they will take on the same requirements as our existing loan program. So there will be a turn down letter required. There will be an interest rate charged, and the collateral requirements, of course, will be more. And they will have to, again, show that they have some skin in the game. This existing CARES Act program that we were just funded, the businesses don't really have to bring any money to the table. So they don't have to provide any leveraged funds. But after 24 months, it will, those changes will go away, and it will be the same as our existing loan program.
And Diane, if people have questions or want to contact you, what is the best way that you want to be contacted?
You can contact me by phone, again, at 252-436-2040, or by email at info@cartarcog.org.
It's a great opportunity for businesses, and I know we've been speaking to several small businesses that we hope will take advantage of it. And our ask of all of you on this phone call is help get the word out, because this is time to help our small businesses.
Yes, thank you, Richie. And again, one of the applicants that we'll be looking at on Monday is a Franklin County small business. And I know that there is another small business that I spoke to on Tuesday that is based in Franklin County that will be submitting an application.
It's great.
All right, thank you, Diane. Now,
Thank you so much.
I've seen some social media posts go out there. I think I saw the chamber share it. Are you guys sharing it out through your Twitter feeds also, Andy?
I haven't seen anything yet from the COG on it, but as soon as they do, I will retweet that through both of our accounts.
Okay. So everybody that's on social media, when you see it, just reshare it, put a comment with it. That way we can get the word out there. It's always a big help too. So, and I know Richie sent an email out. I've seen that blast go out also. So.
Yeah, and I think
right.
I think the Small Business Center at Vance Granville has shared it also.
All right.
It's been shared out of the airport as well to the small businesses there too.
Great.
All right. All right. The next item, Richie, turn it over to you.
The chairman of the board also.
Okay, good.
Mhm.
All right, Richie, I'm gonna turn it over to you. You're gonna talk about the North Carolina Economic Development Association Annual Conference. I had to
All right.
explain the acronym there.
NCEDA, yeah, we have all these acronyms. Diane, thank you again for helping us and join us for this meeting, and you're welcome to stay. And Andy is going to work with me on this. We put together a presentation to try to give you some highlights. You'll be able to hear it if you're on via phone, those of you that are on visually. Ideally, the videos will play correctly. But the annual meeting was very different this year as a result of COVID-19, no surprise. But we did the annual meeting virtually. And all of us were a little unsure how that would go, but it went really well. We had over 200 attendees, as well as a host of sponsors. And I'll give a shout out to Wake Electric and Electric Cities, who stepped up and helped sponsor this meeting. They're just two of them. We had a number of engineering firms as well. And what we want to share with you are some of the highlights. First, that you see on your screen is some things that the organization itself is doing. As a result of COVID-19, they started doing webinars and offering continuing education for economic developers via these webinars. Andy and I have been fortunate enough to be able to take advantage of a lot of those, and they're going to actually expand that program and offer more as we move forward. So this is a positive way of having continuing education that resulted from the need that COVID-19 presented. They're also creating a 501c3 foundation, so they will be able to do some charitable giving for economic vitality, and they are increasing their legislative advocacy. They're going beyond just the state level, where today they're very active, but they will be enhancing it and moving at the federal level. Statewide, there are a lot of studies that are going on, and we were fortunate to have a lot of data that was presented to us. And we tried to pull out the ones that we thought you would find relevant. One of the ones that we felt was important to talk to is about the statewide overall wage growth. Now, you know, we track this on our sheets, and Andy will talk to that for you in a little bit, but what they have found statewide is that high wage growth seems to be centered in our urban core. So for instance, Raleigh and Wake County, it's seeing high wage growth. Charlotte, Mecklenburg County, high wage growth. But that is not necessarily translating beyond these urban centers. In fact, what appears to be happening throughout the rest of the state is somewhat of a stagnation of wage growth. I will say that Franklin County, you've heard us say it before, we're a little bit unique because of some of the headquarters that we have here, where we stand out with a high wage growth a little bit differently from some of our surrounding rural counties. And Andy will show you the details later. The other thing that's happened statewide, and this is really important on a global level, is statewide, North Carolina is becoming known as a gene and cell therapy hub. And this is a relatively new frontier. It's got a lot of early money coming into it, early investment. And what has attracted this particular growth is the assets that we have here. No surprises, the great universities, the great community colleges. So that talent pool has brought this into this area, and again reinforces what a great state we are, and particularly in this area for research. So we'll be watching that as it grows. Okay, next slide. Franklin County was also highlighted, interestingly enough, in many of the presentations, and you'll hear from one of them in particular, but these were 3 points we wanted to pull out and make sure you know about. The first one is Franklin County should see a 1.56% population growth per year over the next 5 years. What is unique about that is Franklin County is one of only 13 North Carolina counties with a net positive anticipated growth. The other counties, many of them are projected to lose population. So we are in a very good position. The other thing that is interesting when you start measuring, well, what are the demographics of these people? The senior household growth in Franklin County is expected to be over 19.5% of our growth by 2025. And what does that mean? That means we have to pay attention to what is going on in our senior population. And I will reference some comments that Ms. Harris made Monday evening, but Ms. Harris and Kim Denton and her staff, all of them have been working actively with the Carter region as well, and Diane and her team, on what is happening with the aging population and putting programs in place for the aging population. And this just reinforces that all that work shows the foresight that this team and the elected officials have to be ready for what is coming. The other thing that was interesting is the percentage of homeowners that are what is termed cost burdened. And this is a term that is nationally used, and the percentage of homeowners that appear cost burdened in our county, 60%, but that is not unique. That is almost typical across the nation. And that means they're paying over 33% of their monthly income in mortgage or rent. And we thought that was a point that you would want to see. I'm going to ask Andy to try the video now, and this will be from the group that assembled this, and it's Bowen National Research. And you will, if you can't see it, you should be able to hear what he says. Okay.
Yeah. And if in post I have links, I can provide you with a link if you want to hear it.
Thank you, Andy.
No problem.
So this is population growth from 2010 to 2020 across the state. And as you might expect, over the last decade, most of the growth is in those darker counties. So those are more developed areas of the state, along the coastal area as well, and then western North Carolina. You've added over 1 million people in the last decade. And again, it's really over the more developed areas of the state you've seen the growth. If you go to the next slide. That is, you switch to the next slide. There you go. That's net population migration. So what this is communities change when people are born, when people pass away, but really where the biggest dynamic affecting a lot of communities, and particularly in North Carolina, is net migration. So these are where people are coming into a county from outside. And North Carolina has so much growth, as I just talked about over the last decade, all the growth that's occurred across the state. This is showing now where are people moving into. And so on this map, and this is through Carolina Demography, this is showing where the growth is, migration is occurring. That's in the Raleigh-Durham area, along the I-40 corridor, the north central part of the state, down by Charlotte, Mecklenburg County, on the I-77 corridor, but also in the Asheville region. And then if you notice too, on the southeast part of the state, down near Brunswick and New Hanover County, which we're conducting a housing needs assessment for those good folks, you see a lot of growth that has occurred just through migration. And this is the 1-year snapshot, but it does illustrate, where people are moving to in the state of North Carolina. Next slide. So this is annual population growth rates. So this is, now we're going to look to the future. I know the conference talked about looking up to the year 2030, but our crystal ball and the demographer's crystal ball isn't that good. And so it only goes up to the next 5 years. And so this is annual population growth rates up to 2025. And this is showing, again, you're going to start to see some common themes across the state, all around that Wake County, Raleigh area, as well as down there, Charlotte and Union County, just southeast of Mecklenburg, substantial growth. But again, look to the southeast part of the state. You've got a lot of population growth expected to occur down near Wilmington area, and then over in the mountain area of near Asheville. So a lot of growth occurring across the state. The other thing to look at too is in those lighter pink shades is the rural areas. The more remote parts of the state are expected to lose people. And so while that could be a challenge, there are some opportunities, and I'll talk about that for those rural communities. Next slide. So this is households age 65 and older in the year 2020 across the state. And we all hear about baby boomers and how significant they are and how they continue to grow. And so this is the concentration of, again, it's not population, it's households age 65 and older. But you can see that over 160,000 households are either in Mecklenburg or Wake County. And then through those gray shades along the I-40 corridor, as well as along the I-70, you've got a lot of senior households. And again, the southeast part of the state and over near the Asheville area. So if you go to the next slide, you're going to see where, next slide, please. Thank you. This is the growth projected for senior households over the next 5 years. And the darker shades, higher growth. And I just circled some of the ones that were really standing out. And most of that growth for the senior households is in that area just outside of Raleigh-Durham area, as well as northeast of Mecklenburg County up in Cabarrus County. And then again, you're starting to see a theme on the southeast part of the state, a lot of anticipated growth in senior households down near Wilmington area. Now, the thing to keep in mind is this isn't all of a sudden seniors gravitating to North Carolina and gravitating to these communities. That's happening. People retire to North Carolina. It's a great place to retire. But a lot of this is just people aging in place. And so as communities and economic development, as you think forward to what should we be anticipating, and a lot of this discussion really is tying demographics to housing, which I believe is an economic factor. You have to be thinking about senior characteristics. And this wave that's coming through, we're all aware of, communities need to plan for it. And I think a lot of communities we've talked to are starting to realize how significant this change is. Next slide, please.
And that was the end of that.
But you can see from that Franklin County was one of those counties that was circled that's going to see this growth in the senior population. So that was some of the demography. The next portion that we want to share with you, and this is about 4 minutes long, is from site selectors. As you know, site selectors are engaged by companies who are looking for a location to bring their company or looking for a location to expand their company. This is where we get all our projects from. And we thought it was very relevant for you to hear from 2 leading site selectors. You will hear from Jeanette Goldsmith, who is with Strategic Development Group, as well as Chris Lloyd, who is with McGuire Woods Consulting, LLC, and they're going to share with you points of site selection as impacted by COVID-19. It's moderated by Marvin Price, who is from the Charlotte Regional Business Alliance. Okay, Andy.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for joining. So I want to go ahead and jump right in because I want to leave enough time to answer any questions that we might have from the audience. So for both of you, can you describe how your project pipeline has been since COVID-19?
I'll start us off. We had, I think I should start by saying that the work that we do at Strategic Development Group is very much focused on heavy industrial type projects. So we do some office type projects and some warehouse and distribution, but primarily focused on heavy industrial projects. And at the beginning of the year, and had a nice book of business. Once the COVID pandemic hit, we ended up with 3 clients that really wanted to continue to push forward regardless of the pandemic. Those clients were in building materials and chemical sectors. And those clients haven't slowed down at all. We did have one client that did slow down as a result, put their project on hold indefinitely. That one is in the automotive sector. And then, as I referenced earlier, we had an announcement just last week. Commercial Metals Corporation announced a new merchant bar mill in Mesa, Arizona, and that was one of our projects that we've been working on since the beginning of the year. So we're quite excited about that.
Similar to Jeanette, ours has varied by sector and by industry. It really has, the pipeline is still there. It's just, again, a great deal of variation by industry. We do a lot, I'll just for the most part, our client base falls within, and just to be clear, we only do private sector work. We don't do any public sector or EDO advising here. We only represent private clients. So it's entirely dependent upon those site selection activities. Most of our work falls in food and beverage, warehouse and logistics, advanced manufacturing with a particular focus on aviation, which built off the project. I always consider my marquee project was the Honda Jet deal in Greensboro. And then a lot in the corporate office kind of space, which includes data centers. And there's been a great deal of variation across those industries. In the office sector, we've had one IT client that did a major announcement here in Virginia with 700 jobs we just announced it 4 weeks ago. They just feel that the market is continuing to be strong and they intend to go forward. We also, however, do a lot with the hospitality space in their office. The data center and shared service for hospitality, that's absolutely dead right now. Because while I think the hospitality sector is going to come out long term doing well, they're fighting for survival right now. Similar to Jeanette, warehouse and distribution remains very strong with us. And interestingly, we've started picking up a lot of work in the solar space, which had not been a strong sector for us, but there's a lot of solar and renewable energy development project going on all around the country, but particularly in the Southeast. So we're picking up a number of those projects. And then food and beverage, which I noted was one of our sectors, that remains very, very strong for us. We are particularly strong in the protein space. So those companies faced a lot of challenges in the initial days of the COVID crisis with spread at their facilities. And so as you can imagine, new projects kind of fell to the back burner. But now that we've gotten past that, in fact, most of them are have got that situation well under control, and our models for what other people are doing, those projects are starting to come back online. So, but what we're also seeing, though, is the only other thing that I would add is people are taking a little bit longer to make decisions than they were previously. A lot of kicking the tires, but there's still projects out there for sure.
Absolutely.
We thought you would find that interesting, and everything you heard from them mirrors what we're seeing in our project pipeline, and Andy will talk to that in just a moment. But the last slide I wanted to share with you is some recent research that has been made available by the Research Triangle Institute. It's the global nonprofit that surveys for what skill sets are employers looking for and where is their potential growth in the next several years. And in the survey that they just completed, and they focused on 2 areas for this survey, the Research Triangle region, of which we are a member, of course, and the Cape Fear region, which was driven very heavily by responses out of New Hanover County. But in surveying those companies, over 1,000 responses, 57% of the respondents said that they do intend to grow their workforce in the next 3 years. This is good news for all of us. And that equates to anywhere from 17,000 to 32,000 potential new jobs. Now, which sectors do we think those jobs are going to come into? Based on their research data, the #1 growth sector is manufacturing. And as you know from our makeup, we are a strong manufacturing base in this region here in Franklin County. The second area of growth, healthcare and health service, no surprises there. The third segment of growth, and again, I don't think this is any surprises to anyone, is information services. And I will say that Franklin County is poised very well in that sector. We have approximately 10% of our industries, our larger industries, that are involved in some way with information services and technology. So we have the ability to grow in Franklin County in all 3 of those high growth areas. And we work, Vance Granville Community College is doing a great job of communicating with the economic developers to say, what do we need to be putting in the courses so that we can get the students out there to take these new jobs. So we thought you would find that of interest. And I'm going to turn it over to Andy now and let him bring it back to Franklin County specific demographics and projects.
Okay, everybody, thank you so much. I'm going to actually back out so you can see this more easily. Hopefully you can still see my screen. We'll start off with what you've seen typically. Everybody able to see the demographic report? Awesome.
Mhm.
Population data, that doesn't come in with the regularity of most of our other data. And so the population that you see there was reflected from the May 14th. We would encourage you, however, to, if you have conversations with anybody, encourage them to fill out the US Census. If they fill out the census, we're going to get more accurate and detailed data, so we can provide even better reports to you all moving forward. Moving forward to our unemployment rate. Now, as you can see, the United States data comes out almost 2 months in front of what we see at the county level, and then the state follows a month behind. US indication level, you can see that the drastic drop from the peak levels in April, it's down to 8.4% nationwide. And the state of North Carolina has been trending with the state, or with the federal level, down to 8.5. A little bit of an uptick in July, and we're going to continue to monitor this data as more and more of our economy continues to open, and then other sectors which represent, 20-some% of our employment levels continue to hover in the 2.5 phase. So we're going to see what that comes out to next month, and we anticipate that data here in a couple weeks. And then Franklin County data, our last reporting information was in June, and it was down to 7.3%. As you see, we have sectors all across the state of North Carolina, specifically Franklin County, that have been affected in different ways. And so this is going to be a continued area of focus as we move forward. But a lot of people have talked about the V-shaped recovery, the W-shaped recovery. Well, it's hard to project a V-shape given what we're seeing here, but you can interpret that data as you see fit. Moving to the weekly wages, as was mentioned previously, this information came out in August. Franklin County wage-based information, as you can see here, it trails at $872.21, which is behind the nationwide and the state of North Carolina's average weekly wage. Wage growth is going to be an area of focus among the state of North Carolina, a lot of independent studies, and we hope that we're going to get even more detailed information moving forward on this as some of these studies conclude. And I wouldn't be surprised if you hear a little bit of this coming from some of our elected officials moving forward. Within the county permit activity, the single family home permits continue to really pace our area performance. It's quite the pat on the back for our community to see just how many people are constructing single family homes, and to our home builders who are responding to that need. What's lagging a little bit is commercial activity. What you would see in Franklin County, however, commercial activity for us takes a lot of different forms. Because we have so much virgin land, it's going to have to be a new construct. A lot of the demands that we're seeing from our businesses want existing constructs. One thing that we're going to try to focus in on as a department is with the Franklin County, with the Franklinton revitalization, there's been major outputs of dollars and capital to improve specific properties that aren't necessarily reflected in this data. And so we want to dig in there a little bit more, because if you're spending a couple $100,000 to revitalize a building, we want to make sure that that's attracted in the commercial permitting piece. And so we're going to try to look into that and provide a little bit more detailed information for you moving forward. And then lastly, the labor force versus employed. Essentially what you're looking at is the number of employed people versus the number of unemployed people, or the number of people in the labor force, excuse me. Peak labor force data came out back in August of last year, where we indicated we had 31,707 available persons in the workforce. Well, we're currently down to 29,258. COVID, as you can see back in April, really did widen that gap in available workforce numbers, but that red line is starting to trend back up to the blue. We previously, when you would see a 3% unemployment, that was reflected there in August, where you didn't quite have as many persons available as actually you would need. 3% is technically full employment. And so what we want to continue to see is we want to see this blue line rise back up to the 31,707 line. And the other report that we produced for y'all, this is the project report. As the site selectors indicated, activity has not slowed down all that much. If anything, there's been more generalized and a lot of what they called kicking the tires. You can see here that for the last year to date, there have been 96 total projects run through our office, be it local leads, statewide leads, et cetera. June, July, August activity continues to be right at pacing of what it was last year, even despite the pandemic. Project types, again, manufacturing leads the way. There's definitely an effort to encourage more manufacturing, and we're going to continue to see more and more of these types of opportunities. Also seen a few more leads in regards to information technology and life sciences. And the reason we have a lot of other in here in the category is because there's also been a significant number of food, beverage related, which haven't necessarily been captured in our data because it's not been a sizable portion. But as we move forward, it might also end up on this list as the number of aquacultures, beverage, you name it, all show up, and we might want to track that more effectively. The manufacturing sectors, as we've indicated here, these are, when you look at the total number of leads of those 56 in the manufacturing, you can track just where they are on this end. Electrical components for the IT portions, cabling, you name it. Solar, as indicated by one of the site selectors. And then not stated means we know it's a manufacturer and we know that they're asking, but we don't yet know what industry they're in. They're at an early stage, just trying to see if we have enough capacity, be it from a utility or land standpoint, to satisfy their need. Going through the requests that you actually see from them, again, most of these site selection bids, they want existing buildings. Just like anybody else, you want to minimize your risk and get to market quickly. That would require a pre-constructed building. Of those buildings that you see, 26% of those requests are in the 10,000 to 30,000 square foot range, with 40% being in the 100,000 to 1 million square foot range. And this is pretty varied across the board. But as you can see, the 30% of our requests are in the smaller space, and then 40% are in the large space. And that also, goes into exactly what you see on the site request area. 20 to 49 acres continues to be the predominant request in terms of acreage, which represents 40% of the total request. And then of those wanting 50 plus acres, that's 30%. So, and it stands to reason, if you're looking for large scale production facilities, you're going to need a lot of acreage. And when people think Franklin County, they think wide open space. So we're going to do our best to continue to keep you updated on those and hopefully be able to fill more adequate data and compete more successfully in a lot of these.
Thank you, Andy.
No problem.
Matthew, we'll turn it back to you.
I had one more data piece.
That's right.
Sorry about that. Let me put this back on here. So we had one more interesting piece that came from the Fed data. And this is from the Federal Research Division in St. Louis. And this is statewide data for the state of North Carolina. And this actually tracks specifically by industry, which ones have been most affected by the COVID pandemic. If you go down, you can see total labor, employment, unemployment figures. But as you go and you see the change from April to June, what this indicates is that in April 2020, when the COVID was originally first going after our economy, we were seeing a 48% drop in the leisure and hospitality employment sector. You saw a 20% drop in the other services, which indicate other services rendered being, car services, auto services, and existing home services, you name it. Anything that would be face-to-face, HVAC, you name it. And then non-farm agricultural services, which down 12.4%. And so these are the areas that we've been saying we saw the biggest hurt in the economy, and now we're monitoring their return. Leisure and hospitality in June has made up almost 20% of that original loss. Non-farm went from 12.4% to 7.6%, so it's made up almost 5% of that. And what we have also seen too is that manufacturing had a slight dip too. So when it went down to 11.2% in April, it's now down to 7.3%. And so we're hoping that that continued manufacturing number escalates and we see more and more employment. What that ultimately means is that for the sake of manufacturing job losses during the peak of the economic downturn, we had almost 35,000 persons not working who were previously in manufacturing. And in the leisure and hospitality sector itself, we know that sector represented well over 200,000 jobs, and there's nearly 100,000 jobs still remaining on that 21%. So that's a significant portion of our statewide economy that we're looking to get back to work over the next few weeks. This information is all. We can provide this to you in post, and we aim to serve. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Okay, Matthew.
I got it. Andy, that last slide, was that sent? I don't think that was sent in our agenda. Was that sent?
Yeah, no, that would not have been sent in the agenda.
All right, Lori, would you mind sending it out to the group, please?
I can do that.
All right.
Or Andy, yeah.
All right, thank you very much. All right, let's see here. Next, we'll go to municipal reports. I'll go down the list. Angela, you know what? I'm gonna let you start us off this morning, if that's okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I think Barry has, I don't know if you can see me or not, but anyway,
Try now, Angela. Try now.
I appreciate the opportunity to join you. Okay. All right, we'll try again. I announced at our commissioner meeting Tuesday night my plan to retire. It's my birthday present, November 1st. I certainly appreciate the opportunity to work alongside each of you on the Economic Development Commission and our community partners. Shared with the board just a few of the highlights during my career, and it definitely takes thank you for your contributions along the way that have been, I guess, part of any success that I've enjoyed, and especially that of our community and moving our county forward. Richie mentioned earlier, and it was pointed out in the senior population, I am very proud that we had a first ever aging plan. And that was thanks to the Council of Government. So Diane Cox and her team worked with us on that. But that is something we need to pay close attention to, especially in the area of housing, as was pointed out. When over a third of an individual's income is dedicated to rent or mortgage, that's fairly substantial. We've got a lot of great things going on in the county now. One of the things that I am very proud of is the fiscal strength, our financial position, which poises, I think we're poised for not only growth, but some new construction and facilities, county government, to better serve our community. But I just look forward to the next chapter, as the saying goes, the next career. Sometimes we do that and spend a little more time with families, but thank you. Thank you, muted.
There we go.
For those of you who cannot see, Matthew, you want to share the sign that Lori's holding up?
Yeah, see your sign, yes, it's boo.
Boo. We're all going to miss you, Angela, and thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you.
Right. Was my name growing up, and some people still call me that, so it's a good thing too.
All right. Who would like to go next? Let's see. Let's see who all's on here. Somebody just unmute yourself and get started. Whoever would like to go next.
I think we've got Greg, Pam, and John Franklin. Yeah,
I'll go next. Big
There
Town
you
of
go.
Bun.
Jump on it. Good job.
I, like Angela, I would probably never get to retire. Starting over at 50 is not a good thing. But Angela, you will be missed, and you have helped me in my 3.5 years of clerking and doing things. Anytime I've ever asked to reach out to you, you've been a big help to me, and I'm really going to miss you.
Thank you.
But big things in Bun. We just opened up Rustic Roots. I advise all of you guys to come down there and try that out. Russell Vollmer and his wife Vanessa. I've been there to eat there on my anniversary, and it is a big asset to the town of Bun. I think he's going to do good there. Other than that, nothing's really going on. The town's going good. Still not open to the public for town hall, which is a good thing sometimes. The park is open, but other than that, everything's going well in Bun.
Ma'am, I've eaten at Rustic Roots 3 times now, and that's what our weekend go-to place is now. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no
Mhm.
need to go to Raleigh, Wake Forest, just right here at home.
And you need reservations, so you can't just show up. All right, I messed up. We just showed up one night, so you need reservations.
Yeah, you better call first.
That's right. And
Thank you.
what I really like is they have some staple stuff they're going to keep on the menu, but there's certain things they're going to change. It's going to be seasonal with whichever vegetables are coming out at the time. So.
Yep, it's good. Y'all need to try it. Thank y'all.
All right, thank you. And let's see who. Greg, you want to go next?
I'll be glad to. Angela, hang in there. Sound like you're gonna have another fun thing to do, spending time with your family.
Yes.
I think you're gonna really enjoy it. It's great. Wanting to update on a couple of things. We continue to get good interest in on downtown. Richie has been amazing with us, working with us on encouraging those businesses and who are looking at coming to downtown Franklinton. We are poised to get a number of jobs as well as businesses, and it's kind of an exciting time to watch it happen. The other thing is that we're continuing our efforts to encourage our businesses, our commercial property owners, to make sure that they're doing all the things they can do to maintain their properties. And so as a result, we're going to be doubling our efforts on code enforcement in the downtown area, specifically those who are zoning enforcement on those who are using their buildings for storage, to transfer those over to basically get those on the market, to get those so that they can be used for the retail that they're expected to be, or commercial, and not just as storage units for other things. We are also focusing code enforcement on the entrance areas. Specifically, we're seeing some changes down at where the 1A comes into number 1 on the southbound way. We're getting those areas cleaned up as well. The Utility Advisory Committee in the county was kind enough to add additional properties, water allocation to one of our developments. And so we're really hoping that that's going to continue to work for us. They've already come in and taken up much of those building permits, at least on the ones on the first phase of it. Hopefully we're going to get some more movement on the remaining parts of it. And we certainly encourage our county that they really, Angela, you guys have done some yeoman work to try to get us so we can get some water. We need it desperately. So I hope that's one of the continuing acts that you'll do as you finish us up here, to get Franklinton where it needs to be in terms of water allocation. That, along with the things that are going on in downtown, makes it an exciting time to be in Franklinton.
Thank you, Greg. Yeah, I'm excited to see the new posts that come through social media and the pictures. Had a great event there. That you had a good turnout for that, and I'm glad to see you've already got some businesses coming in new spaces.
Good deal.
All right, Jonathan, you want to go next?
Yeah, thanks, Matthew. We're continuing to work on our infrastructure. We're about to put another application in for about $1 million for pump station work. This is to focus on residential development and about half the town. We've got a pump station that's probably half the size it needs to be, and it serves about half the sewer flow in town. So getting that upgraded is going to be great for us. We would have gotten funded in the last round, but we asked for too much grant money. So we're going to lower that grant request amount and resubmit, and hopefully should hear some good news in January for that. The industrial park project, $3.2 million upfit out there. We've selected our consultants, and definitely going to be reaching out to some of you folks that are on this call because we're looking at possibly switching the design up a little bit to do a small business cluster. Everything that we keep hearing from Mark McCarn is folks looking for 1, 2, 3 acre plots for smaller size buildings. We've got 120 acres out there. So I think if we could maybe rope off or section off 20 acres for a small business cluster to help bring in some of those folks that, you know, they don't need 5 and 10 acres and aren't going to build a 90,000 square foot building. I think that'd be wise for the long-term viability of Lewisburg's not only park, but economy. So certainly some of you guys will be hearing from us pretty soon. The town's got a 1,800 square foot building in downtown for sale. Used to be the Rose Men's Shop building, was previously the art gallery. So we've got that listed, and give me a call if you're interested or know someone that might be interested in getting an office building downtown. We've also got a 1,200 square foot space for lease that the town just renovated, looking for some type of medical office or really any office space that only needs 1,200 square feet. Good news on one of the houses that the town redid on Church Street. Apparently when it sold, from what our appraiser was telling us, it was the highest square footage building sold to date in Franklin County for that style of office space. So I thought that was quite interesting for an old house that probably should have just been torn down. And lastly, the board entered into an agreement for the revitalization of Franklin Court Apartments, which is a subsidized housing unit next to downtown. $5 million total, 2.4 in renovation. And they're going to contribute about $125,000 towards the town's development of a greenway system. So we're pretty excited about that. And lastly, September 18th, we're having a sidewalk sale in downtown. Got about 20 businesses on the card that are going to participate. Gift baskets being handed out as long as you go to a certain amount of businesses and get your card checked off. And I believe that's early afternoon to late afternoon. Food trucks and shopping and all those cool things. So look forward to seeing you downtown Lewisburg next weekend.
Great.
All right, thank you, Jonathan. A lot of good things going on. Let's see. Hey, Kim, do you want to jump in and do you have anything you want to talk about?
I think I'm good. I think Angela's covered what the report was for the day.
All right, sounds good. All right, that's municipal reports. Other business. Anybody want to jump in? Bo, I think I'm supposed to call you out. Talk about something, maybe.
Keith, I think you and Bo have something to talk about with Vance Granville Community College and the airport, and we may have a slide to go with that. Andy, if I can get you to bring up the slide.
Sure. So I'll kick it off. Keith and I and Total Flight Solutions at the airport have been working for some time on a curriculum focused on aviation. And so we started out with the easiest route to success, and that was through an UAV program, and which is also known as drones. And we're looking at expanding that curriculum through Vance Granville Community College and the flight school, hopefully to lead to more commercial pilots in the future. But obviously we wanted to get this one off the ground, no pun intended. And I'll turn it over to Keith for him to talk a little bit about this unique situation we've got going on at the airport. Keith?
Thanks, Bo. Appreciate that. As some of you might know, we in the spring and early or late last year, we looked into the possibility of doing a aircraft maintenance program in conjunction with Total Flight and the college. And we found at that point in time that there probably wasn't enough. There's going to be a high cost, and we were not sure about the return, and it seemed like a really steep hill to climb. So it didn't seem like the right starting place for us. So we may get there eventually. But what we did discover is that there's in Holly Springs, there's a FAA designated location for package delivery experimentation, and there's a new Israeli company called Flytrex located there. And so there's this increase in UAV or drone activity, and probably an increase in the need for pilots over the next few years. So what we've done, with Total Flight Solutions and Bo's outfit at the airport is to create two types of classes initially. The first one is we've already commenced with a 16-hour pilot training class. It runs on 2 consecutive Saturdays, weather permitting, and it allows about 12 hours of hands-on flying with GPS-controlled drones that are very much like you find in a commercial application. We're using John Cole, one of Total Flight's instructors, as the primary instructor, and we filled the first class and the second 16-hour flight, pilot flight class, and we're in the process of trying to fill the third class, which will come in October. We've also scheduled the Part 107 FAA commercial UAV drone pilot license class. This class is a 25-hour class, and it's aimed just at prepping people for commercial license examination. So those are the two things. So we've gotten off to a very good start. We're going to continue to talk about this in the community. We hope all of the folks on the call will continue to talk about it. We believe that it's an area of growth. At some point, we believe that there'll be an opportunity to get into maintenance, either of drones or aircraft. And also we believe that we'll be able to look at commercial pilot training as a joint venture between the college and Total Flight Solutions and the airport. So we're all very excited about the progress that we've had so far.
Can I step in right now, because on behalf of the EDC, Fred Keller and I visited Total Flight Solutions back several months ago, and I have, in the time intervening, talked with both Al Mattress and Phil Green 2 occasions because of seeing the exciting things that are happening out there. And I think the connection that the EDC has is just so productive for our airport and for Franklin County, and everything that's going on is progressing so well, Keith, and I look forward to hearing even more good things coming along. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy. We're very excited about it. Hope it's a beginning of large growth.
And Keith, I'll say thanks to you and Bo. I know a lot of work went into this and for the planning, and our hats off to Vance Granville Community College. Y'all are just terrific partners. We really appreciate it.
We aim to serve. We are, it's been delightful so far. Bo's a pleasure to work with, and so we really appreciate that.
Great. And Bo, did you want to say anything? I think you have.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to give everybody a quick update. We currently have 3 grants that I'm implementing out at the airport. The first that you probably heard about, that we started working on first, is the master layout plan, which is the blueprint for the airport's growth over the next 20 years. We are on our working paper new, and it's currently being edited, and then they're going to go through financial modeling and really get the design of what the airport would potentially look like over the next 20 years into a document so that we can substantiate future federal and state funding. That should be complete at the end of first quarter 2021. So again, happy about that progression. Secondly, I know I've talked about it for a while, but the aviation's lighting rehab is finally coming to fruition. Obviously, there was some steps that we had to go through with state funding being replenished at the state level, but now that funding is intact, so to say, they're starting to distribute that money for our lighting grant program. We will be starting on that September 28th. And we will be fully rehabbing all our lights to LEDs, as well as new signs out at the airport. That's really going to help not only with the look of pilots coming in and seeing it from the air, but also for the safety factor of our lights. And then the third grant was recently awarded in April during COVID, of all things. But we were very fortunate due to some well-timed discussion with Division of Aviation to get a full pavement and apron rehabilitation project going. We were awarded a $570,000 design bid grant for future construction, hopefully next fiscal year, to get the runway, taxiway, apron fully rehabbed for the next 20 years. So that will be a $6+ million grant, hopefully next fiscal year, that Triangle North Executive will be awarded. I've been told by the Fed. So I'm very excited about that growth at the airport that can future, we can really enhance our infrastructure there for the future to come. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Thanks, Bo. Thanks for the update. Good to see you too, bud.
Appreciate it. Good to be seen.
Yes, sir. All right. Is anybody else have anything to chat about? Anybody can jump in. All right. Well, our next meeting is going to be November 10th. I am hopeful that we can see each other face to face by then and hug each other's neck, but you never know. So we'll keep you up to date on if it'll be another Zoom meeting or a face-to-face meeting. So that'll come from Lori and Richie. And I'm excited about the number of people that attended this morning. Thank you very much for taking your time out to pour into our community. And if there's nothing else, I'll adjourn us. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Matthew.
All right, see you.
Bye-bye.